Okay, Vishal, so let's start your full mock for your NPCIL interview. I think on 14th of June you are having your interview, Vishal.
Yes, sir.
So me and Saklani sir, we both will go for your snap full mock, Vishal. Soon Saklani sir will also join. So before going to start your mock, Vishal, please introduce yourself briefly to us.
Okay, sir. Sir, I'm Vishal Kolapte.
Mhm,
I'm from Sindhudurga district of Maharashtra state.
mhm.
I've done my schooling as well as college from a local government institute at my place. Then I moved to Pune to pursue mechanical engineering from Siagar College of Engineering, Pune. I completed that with 9.02 CGPA. I'm currently pursuing MTech from Government College of Engineering, Pune. About my family background, I have two sisters. My mother is housewife and my father is government servant. That's it.
So in which year you have completed your BTech?
I completed it in 2019. Now I'm in second year of my MTech.
So immediately after completing your BTech, you joined MTech program.
No,
Or after
sir, there
1 year
was a
gap.
1 year of gap.
1 year gap.
Yes.
Okay. So what you did in that 1 year, Vishal?
Sir, I prepared for this gate examination.
Mhm. So now also you are preparing for GATE. I think you got the call from NPCIL based on your GATE score only.
Yes, sir.
So
So
you
this year I gave the gate and 2022 score by that which I got call from NPCIL.
2022 call score.
Yes, sir.
So means you are not interested in higher education.
It's not like that, sir.
Mhm.
But in my first attempt, I made a lot of mistakes in my gate examination. So I could not appear into the PSU interview as well as for that was the year of COVID. So I could not get even a job at the private sectors. So I joined MTech,
So you are in second year.
second year of
So
MTech.
in which domain you are pursuing your masters, Vishal?
I'm doing it in thermal engineering.
So you are doing it in thermal engineering. Mm.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think very easily you can move into some kind of research domains or some kind of academics after getting masters. Why especially NPCIL?
Because sir, NPCL gives best career prospects in the thermal engineering field,
Mhm.
and also it is 100% government PSU, as well as the people over there is a hub of the brilliant people. So that will help me to live a meaningful life with their association.
Okay, so what is your short-term and long-term goal, Vishal? Suppose if you'll get the opportunity, what is your short-term and long-term goal?
Sir, currently I'm focusing on just skill development. So whatever I can contribute in the NPCL, that I will look on. But if consider a long-term goal, of course, I would like to get on the higher positions in the NPCL.
So what are your favorite subjects, Vishal? Like in
Sir,
math,
IC engine,
uh,
thermodynamics,
mhm,
fluid mechanics,
mhm,
heat transfer,
mhm.
and power plant.
So most of the subjects you like related to thermal domain only.
Yes, sir. But in next mock,
What about production and strength of material?
yes, in a real interview, sir, I will give both but in next mock, I will take only design related subject. This time I'm taking only thermals.
Okay. Okay. Vishal, so let me start with IC engine first.
Okay, sir.
Vishal, what is ignition lag? What is
Sir,
ignition
from
lag in petrol engine?
ignition lag in petrol engine,
Mhm.
sir, when the chemical action start, from that point, when the actual burning of fuel happen, for that time period, it is called as ignition lag.
What do you understand by advancement of spark? You heard about spark advance, retarding of spark. So
Yes, sir, I have heard.
why we go for advancement in spark?
Because, sir, in this petrol engines, there is a problem of knocking. To avoid these problems, we do advance ignition so that the end fuel that is in the chamber, that will not burn by the another hotspot.
If you are carrying out advancement in spark, that is going to increase the engine temperature and pressure, yes or no? What do you feel? If you are advancing the spark, means in the compression stroke only you are initiating the spark, so your the mean temperature, the pressure is going to increase inside the cylinder, or it is going to decrease? What will be the difference? Like the first case, we are initiating the spark just before the end of the compression stroke. In second case, we are initiating the spark in the expansion stroke, beginning of the expansion stroke. What do you feel? In which case the pressure will be more, temperature will be more?
In case of the start of that power stroke, if we are doing that,
Okay,
the ignition, that will increase the temperature.
just think for a while, Vishal. The expansion is taking place. We are initiating the spark. So due to expansion, the pressure is going to decrease. Temperature is going to decrease.
Yes, yes sir.
Obviously, due to spark, some kind of combustion will take place and temperature will increase. But that rise in temperature will be much lower as compared to the temperature rise, pressure rise when you are initiating the spark before the end of the compression stroke. Are you getting what I want to say? Because
Yes,
in
sir,
compression, you are having very high compressed air, very high compressed charge you are having. Are you getting?
Yes sir, I got it.
So initiating, what I want to tell you actually through this, advancing of spark results in auto ignition. That results in the knocking, increase in knocking tendency. You mentioned, sir, advancing we carry out to decrease the knocking. That is not right actually. That we carry
Okay
out,
sir.
that purpose you need to think why we carry out advancing. Advancing results in knocking. That's why we don't go with much advance. We go with only 5 to 10 degree advance. Are you getting? Like if
Okay
we go
sir.
with very high degree advance, that will result in knocking. So we cannot go with that high degree of advance.
Okay
Now you
sir.
need to think, you need to answer why we go for advance. Why 5 degree, 10 degree advance?
Okay sir.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we increase the temperature after the compression, then there will be a more work produced. So the little advancement will give us higher temperature and
Why?
more work.
Okay. So that I think I already mentioned somewhere. The pressure is increasing, temperature is increasing. So more pressure, more will be the power output.
Yes sir.
So advancing we carry out to get the more power. Yes, that point is valid, right?
Yes. Yes sir.
Fine. what is cetane number, Vishal?
So cetane number is percentage of the cetane in a mixture of cetane and alpha methyl benzene.
Can you tell us how we measure the calorific value of a fuel? How we measure calorific value?
Okay, sir. It can be measured with the bomb calorimeter.
Mm-hmm.
In that fuel is burned, and then the energy it is giving to the surrounding is measured.
What is the difference between high calorific value and low calorific value?
Sir, high calorific value is obtained by considering even the mass of the water vapor that is getting evaporated. That also taken in consideration. So it is greater than the low calorific value.
High calorific value is lower.
Sorry, sir.
What you are
Low
saying?
calorific, high calorific value contains even the water vapor that are getting evaporated. Those are condensed and the heat of that is also calculated in the high calorific value.
ठीक है. Okay. Vishal, what is second law of thermodynamics?
Sir, second law of thermodynamics consists of two statements. One is that the complete heat energy cannot be converted into complete work energy. And the second statement says that if you want to transfer heat from lower temperature to higher temperature, we need to give a work input.
Can you tell me the difference between a heat engine and a heat pump? What is the difference?
For heat engine, sir, we are introducing heat. The flow of the heat is from the higher temperature to lower temperature. But in case of heat pump, the flow is from low temperature to higher temperature. Whereas the rejection is the loss for the our heat engine, but in heat pump, the heat that is getting rejected is our desired effect.
So can you tell us the assumptions, some of the important assumptions for air standard cycle?
Sir, air is considered as the ideal fluid. So it will follow the PV is equal to mR2 law, as well as the specific heat at the constant pressure as well as constant volume. Both are considered to be constant with respect to temperature, as well as the ratio of the specific heat is also considered constant with respect to temperature. And also the cycle is considered internally reversible.
Only internally, not externally?
No.
Or both?
It won't be externally reversible. It is only internally reversible.
Okay. In the actual case, the variation in CPCV takes place, Isha. So can you
Yes,
draw
sir,
the Otto cycle with variation in CPCV?
Yes, I can.
Yes. Please draw. And tell me the effect. What will be the effect if we will consider the variation in specific heats?
Sir, specific heats value. So this is what I have drawn. Is it visible?
No. This is actually. I think you want to you tried to draw the real cycle, no? But I just asked you
Yes, sir.
only we need to consider the variation in specific heat. There are so many difference between a ideal cycle, air standard cycle, and the actual cycle. Like the dissociation losses, pumping losses are there in actual cycles. Variation in CPCV. Okay, air is we are having mixture fuel, air fuel mixture is there. So then actual cycle will look like that. But I just asked you only to consider variation in CPCV.
Sorry, sir, I don't know that. But sir, CP and CV value both are increased.
What is the effect?
Increases with the temperature.
Uh-huh.
But the value of CP increases more than CV. So value of gamma decreases. So as the value
gamma
of
to CP by CV होता ना. If CP is increasing, gamma will increase.
Sorry, CV value of CV with respect to temperature increases more than CP. So value of specific heat ratio decreases and it will reduce the efficiency of the engine.
The efficiency decrease करता है. Output decrease करेगा.
Output will also decrease.
Okay. Vishal, what is PMM3? You heard about PMM3?
Yes, sir, I've heard about.
क्या होता है?
Sir, perpetual motion machine 3 is the machine which does not follow the third law of thermodynamics.
Does not follow the third law.
It's violate the third law.
Okay. कैसे define करोगे आप?
The PMM will be the machine which can uh, take any body to 0 Kelvin temperature.
What is available energy, Vishal?
It is a maximum amount of work that can be obtained
By what?
by the Carnot cycle or the best ideal cycle.
So a Carnot cycle, suppose operating between 600 and 500 degrees Celsius. So the work which you are going to get, that is available energy. A Carnot
Yes.
cycle which is operating between 600 and 500 degrees Celsius or Kelvin, sorry. So the work which that cycle is going to give us will be available energy.
The maximum work that it will give will be the available energy.
Or we need to consider the lower temperature T atmospheric.
I'm sorry, sir, I did not get lower temperature.
Actually, a Carnot operating between 600 and 500.
Yes, sir.
But the atmospheric temperature is 300 Kelvin.
Yes, sir.
So suppose Q1 heat you are supplying. Q1 heat you are supplying.
No, we have to consider for the available energy. We have to consider the dead state.
Yes, so you need to mention it completely, na? The maximum work that we can get by bringing the system to the dead state.
Dead state, yes, sir.
So Carnot to maximum work देगा आपको, but Carnot work is not the available energy. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Even a Carnot engine which is operating between 600 and 500, that is not maximum work. That is maximum work, but that is not available energy. There is a difference.
Yes,
so the maximum work which you are getting by bringing the system to the dead state, that is available energy. Sure. Okay. My last question is to you. What is Lmtd of a heat exchanger?
Sir, it is obtained by taking the temperature difference at the temperature difference of the cold fluid and the hot fluid at the entry and at the exit for a parallel flow. And those temperature are denoted as θ1 and θ2. By taking θ1 minus θ1 divided by ln of θ1 by θ2 will give us Lmtd.
So why some Lmtd is required? And you heard about correction factor.
Yes, sir, correction factor I heard.
क्या होता है? Why correction factor is required?
Because there are losses than the ideal equation, so we have to consider that.
ठीक है Vishal, I think at last I will provide the feedback. Saklana sir, Vishal is going for NPCIL introduction part and his gap, all those things I asked him. Sir, he is having major interest in thermal. He is doing MTech from like he's pursuing now. He's in second year, Government Engineering College, Pune. And he mentioned IC engine, thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, heat transfer, and power plant as his favorite subject. But we can go for production and strength of material also, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so Vishal, let me ask a few questions to you related to since you're getting into you're doing MTech from where?
Government College of Engineering, Pune.
College of Engineering, Pune. In thermal, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Vishal, can you let me know where do you see the application of thermal engineering in cutting process?
Okay. Sir, in cutting process, there is a laser cutting process. In that, there is application of thermal.
That is all. So let's say if we take a simple cutting operation, there you see any role of this thermal engineering?
There will be heat transfer occurring between the because of the friction of the cutter and a workpiece. So there will be a
friction of cutter and
the workpiece.
Only friction. Because of friction, there will be heat generation. That's what you're saying.
Yes, sir. So there has to be a cooling system for that, and that is the work we do as a thermal engineering.
Have you seen turning operation on lathe?
Yes, sir. I've seen.
Okay. So in turning operation, when you're cutting the workpiece, where do you think the heat is generated the most? In which region?
Most of the heat is on the chip, sir.
Okay. And after that?
Sorry, sir. I'm not sure. It may be on the tool. I'm just guessing. I don't know exactly.
So what do you understand by stress?
Sorry, sir. You asked me stress.
Stress.
Okay, sir. Um, it is, sir. We can say that the distribution of the internal resisting forces inside the body when we try to break that body.
Okay. So when we normally say strength of a material, what does that mean? What is the meaning of strength?
Strength is, sir, the maximum force or the torque the material can withstand.
Okay. Okay. Have you heard about thermal stresses?
Yes, sir, I have heard.
So what is the meaning of thermal stresses?
When we give heat to any material, it tries to expand. But when we try to restrict its expansion, the stresses produced in the material are called as thermal stresses.
So can you give me some examples of equipments where you think that these concepts of thermal stresses are going to be important?
Sir, in railway track, when uh, train runs on those tracks, when there is a junction in the two railway tracks, at that time there is an expansion, and when they touches to each other, there will be a stresses produced.
So you must have heard about the heat exchangers also.
Yes, sir, I have heard.
So do you think that in heat exchanger there is a role of any thermal stresses?
So I am not sure about it.
But boilers you may have studied, right?
Yes, sir, I've studied about boilers.
So there don't you think any role of this because as you will make use of these heat exchangers over there. So don't you think that there is going to be any role of these stresses?
Yes, sir, if the heating is uneven in the boiler, then there will be. But if uniform heating is happening, then I won't think there will be any stresses.
Okay, so as of now, do you have any idea who is heading NPCIL?
Yes, sir. Mr. BC Pathak, sir.
And what is his background?
He's, sir, I think he's bark scientist. Apart from that, I'm not aware.
So do you have any idea of how much total nuclear power do we generate in terms of percentage?
Yes, sir. For India, it is 3% of total.
Okay. So okay, Vishal, I think we can give you the feedback. So see, in NPCIL, it is not that whatever subjects you mentioned, they will ask you from that area. Okay, it is good that okay you prepare them well, but they can randomly go anywhere. Okay, so just
Okay,
skip
sir.
through other areas also so that you are able to tackle over there. For example, at least you can see those areas in production or maybe other areas where they are closely related to thermal.
Okay, sir.
right? So, for example, I just normally ask those questions. For example, thermostasis concepts and related to in cutting. It is not cutting that due to the friction only. When you are giving the input energy to shear that material, so during the shearing of that material, a lot of heat is generated.
Yes,
It is
sir.
not dumping action; it is a shearing action. Because of that, heat will be generated. A lot of heat will be generated because of that. Right? Obviously, friction, smaller amount of friction is also going to be over there. So that will also play a role, but significant role is going to be over there. Then one question was related: chip carries the maximum heat and then carried by tool at second
Yes,
position.
sir.
15 to 20% is tool, and then rest is on workpiece. 70 to 80% is by the chip only.
Chip only.
Rest is fine. So I think rest Vishal sir will give you the feedback because most of the area related firmly he focused on. Okay. Over to
Okay,
Vishal.
Yes, hello, Vishal.
Hello,
Okay,
sir.
okay, let me provide you the feedback. I think Satyani sir discussed with you.
Yes, sir.
हाँ ठीक है. देखो कुछ क्वेश्चंस मैंने आपसे पूछे थे. आपका देखो इंट्रोडक्शन तो ठीक लग रहा है, स्पेसिफिक था, ऑल इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स यू हाईलाइटेड. जीईसी में कर रहे हो, बैकग्राउंड आप मेंशन कर दो, डोमेन स्पेशलाइजेशन जो है आपका
Okay.
गवर्नमेंट
Yes,
इंजीनियरिंग
sir.
कॉलेज में. बीटेक का ईयर भी साथ साथ मेंशन कर दो कि इन 2019 आई कंप्लीटेड एंड देन आफ्टर 1 year आई जॉइंड दिस एमटेक प्रोग्राम and I'm preparing at the same time, sir. I joined MTech program and I'm preparing for competitive examination because I want my career in some good research organization PSUs. तो उसको क्लियरली बोलना है, ठीक है. तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है कि एमटेक करने में, एमटेक करना है या मतलब आपको नहीं जाना है, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि मैंने आपसे पूछा, that's fine. But if you in the beginning only if you are highlighting, that will look like yes you are really interested and you are clear with your vision कि हाँ मेरा गोल क्या है, ठीक है. तो उसको बताने
Okay,
से,
sir.
पूछने से पहले ही बता देना है कि आपका
ठीक है.
है क्या. और सब्जेक्ट ठीक है, आपने थर्मल के मेंशन किए, बट एक दो सब्जेक्ट स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ मटेरियल वगैरह भी नेक्स्ट टाइम आप नेक्स्ट मॉक में प्रिपेयर करना.
Yes,
तो
sir.
इग्निशन लैग आई थिंक ऑलरेडी आई डिस्कस्ड. इग्निशन लैग तो आपने बताया था, एडवांसिंग क्यों कर दें, ताकि अपने को पीक प्रेशर टेम्परेचर ज्यादा मिले, ठीक है. आपका
Yes, sir.
टेम्परेचर प्रेशर बढ़ जाएगा, टेम्परेचर प्रेशर बढ़ जाएगा तो आपका मीन इफेक्टिव प्रेशर बढ़ जाएगा, पावर आउटपुट बढ़ जाएगी.
अच्छा.
अब रिटार्ड करने से क्या होता है, पावर आउटपुट कम हो जाती है. नॉकिंग टेंडेंसी तो कम हो जाती है बट पावर आउटपुट कम हो जाती है. तो हम इंटरेस्टेड हैं एडवांस करने में ताकि पावर आउटपुट बढ़ जाए, बट ज्यादा एडवांस करने से नॉकिंग टेंडेंसी बढ़ जाती है. बिकॉज यू नो टेम्परेचर प्रेशर अगर इंजन का बढ़ता है, क्या होता है, ऑटो इग्निशन के चांसेस बढ़ जाते हैं.
ज़्यादा हो.
अच्छा, कैलोरिफिक वैल्यू, सिटेन नंबर, वो ठीक बता रहे थे आप. सेकंड लॉ ऑफ थर्मोडायनामिक्स, एक वो डायग्राम नहीं बनाया अपने ऑटो साइकिल डीजल साइकिल का सीपीसीवी वेरिएशन के साथ, तो देखना एक बार
Yes, sir.
एयर स्टैंडर्ड असम्पशन, एक्चुअल साइकिल में डायग्राम और सीपीसीवी का वेरिएशन से क्या होता है.
ठीक है.
करेक्शन फैक्टर हम उससे नहीं करते कि करेक्शन फैक्टर आपने कुछ गलत बताया. करेक्शन फैक्टर क्या है, हम एलएमटीडी हर केस के लिए फाइंड आउट नहीं कर सकते. लाइक सपोज यू आर हैविंग ए क्रॉस फ्लो हीट एक्सचेंजर,
Yes,
वी आर
sir.
हैविंग एलएमटीडी एक्सप्रेशन फॉर पैरेलल फ्लो, काउंटर फ्लो. अब क्रॉस फ्लो है या कोई एट एनी पर्टिकुलर सपोज डिफरेंट एंगल्स और देयर आर मल्टीपल पासेस, यू आर यूजिंग मल्टीपल पासेस. अभी हमारे पास एलएमटीडी किसके लिए है, सिंगल पास के लिए, पैरेलल और काउंटर फ्लो हीट एक्सचेंजर. बट इन रियल में तो हम मल्टी पासेस यूज करते हैं, मल्टीपल शेल यूज करते हैं, क्रॉस फ्लो यूज करते हैं. तो उन केसेस के लिए हम क्या यूज करते हैं, करेक्शन फैक्टर. रिगार्डिंग दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन द एक्सपेरिमेंटल एविडेंसेस कि इस केस के लिए क्या लेना चाहिए. सिंगल पास है तो इतना करेक्शन फैक्टर लगा दो. ओके, कंसीडर इट एज काउंटर फ्लो हीट एक्सचेंजर बट देन यूज करेक्शन फैक्टर. ठीक है विशाल, बट आपका जो
Okay, sir.
डिलीवरी स्टाइल है वो ठीक लग रहा है. नेक्स्ट टाइम जब आप आओगे तो वी विल इंटरेक्ट मोर. गुड लक विशाल, थैंक यू.